and a hearty welcome to the final session in the series of Universal Truths from the Bhagavad Gita. This entire series is now offered at the holy feet of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya Ji on his Jayanti. It was not at all planned, but it just happened. All Krishna's blessings, and therefore we humbly offer our pranams at the holy feet of all the gurus who have entered our lives holding a torchlight to shed off all the darkness of our mind. Right? Hari Om. Is adapting to universality. I live on this planet Earth. Planet Earth is a remarkable place where you and I live. We offer our immense gratitude to Mother Earth for the air that we breathe, to the water that we drink, to the space where we live, to the land where we stay, to the Earth's atmosphere, hydrosphere, geosphere, and biosphere, all playing very important roles in creating the environment that we call our home, sweet home. What do we understand by the term universality? It is a quality or the state of being universal, existing everywhere or involving everyone. And this is from the Cambridge Dictionary. Universality is that which connects all living beings irrespective of gender, sex, age, caste, creed, color, or culture. Now for the seekers of truth, you and I, universality should be understood as the principles of equality and divinity. And what do we understand by adapting to universality? It is tuning our body, mind, emotions, feelings, thoughts to divinity. Or it could also mean readjusting cheerfully our lives to accommodate others. So goes the phrase, live and let live. It also would mean accepting everyone as they are, viewing every circumstance of life as a situation and not a problem. Right? It would also mean how, by knowing that, we try to live as a teacher. We have to be like Krishna, considering everyone to be part of the divine play. Every moment of our lives should be spent only in prayers and in inculcating values. This would be adapting to universality. It could also mean listening to the scriptures from the holy masters, and intellectually trying to grasp the divine aspect of eternality. Once this is done, adapting to the universality becomes super easy and successful. How to do this? Let us explore. Let us find out. Now, in the schools, we have learned about many information or too much information about Earth. So I'm not going into the diameter or the mass or the distance from the sun of the planet Earth, but I would definitely like to bring to our awareness the length of the day, that is 24 hours, and the length of the year, that is 365 days, when the Earth rotates round its axis and revolves round the sun. This we learned in our geography lessons. So we're just recollecting some of different aspects of Earth's features. The Earth's axis is tilted at an angle of about 23.5 degrees relative to the plane of its orbit around the sun. Now this tilt, it is said, is responsible for the Earth's seasonal changes and also for the variation in the daylight hours throughout the year in different parts of the world. Earth's orbital plane is the flat path that it follows as it travels around the sun. And the equator is a very important imaginary line that circles the Earth at 0 degrees latitude, and it is this line that divides the planet into two hemispheres. Hemispheres, right? We also know the cross section of the Earth. We have the crust, mantle, and the core. The crust is the outermost layer, and it varies in thickness from about 5 to 70 kilometers depending on location. It is composed primarily of the solid rock. It is divided into two main types, that is oceanic crust and the continental crust. What about the mantle? The mantle is the layer beneath the crust. So now you see that orangish and yellowish color, that is the mantle. The mantle is the layer beneath the crust, and this mantle lies between Earth's dense superheated core and its thin outer layer, the crust. The mantle is said to be about 84% of the Earth's volume. It is composed of hot semi-solid rock. Now what about the core? The ball-shaped core lies beneath the brittle crust and the most solid mantle. It is a central layer of the Earth. It is divided into outer and inner layers. Now we also know that the Earth has a moon. And why moon is important for us? Now it cannot affect the Earth, but it definitely affects the water, and that is how we have tides. The moon is a large natural object that orbits or travels around the Earth. After the sun, for us, it is the brightest object in the sky, right? Now we have 7 continents. Earth is divided into 7 continents. The first is the Asia. Now the Asian continent, or the Asia, is the largest and most populous continent, covering 1/3 of the world's land area. It comprises of 48 nations, the Pacific Ocean in the east, the Arctic Ocean in the north, the Indian Ocean in the south, and the Europe to the west. Next, we have the African continent. Now, Africa is the second largest continent. It comprises of 54 countries. It is known for its vast landscapes, from the Sahara Desert to the rainforests of the Central Africa. All 3 latitudes, that is the equator, which we have already seen, the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, pass through this continent. Next, we have the America. The American continent is divided into 2 large land masses, the North America and the South America. The North America is bordered by the Arctic Ocean in the north, the Atlantic Ocean in the east, the Pacific Ocean in the west, and the South America to the south. Now, South America is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean in the east, the Pacific Ocean in the west, the Southern Ocean in the south, and the Northern Ocean in the north. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, just brushing up. Now, next we have is the Antarctica. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent, and it is said to be the coldest and the driest place on Earth. It has a temperature that can drop below minus 80 degrees centigrade. It is covered in ice that averages 19 kilometers thick and holds 70% of the world's fresh water. Now, despite its extreme conditions, it is home to penguins, seals, and whales. Next we have is Europe. Now, Europe is said to be the 2nd smallest continent in terms of land area, but it is the most densely populated with over 700 million people. Australia is the smallest continent in terms of land area, but it is the 6th largest country in the world. Now, the continent is famous for its Isonic landscapes and a wide variety of unique wildlife. The indigenous people of Australia have a rich and ancient culture that has been shaped by the continent's unique environment. Yes. Now, this you and I have learned all these details in our educational institutions. There is something more to it which are not taught to us in the educational institutions, but we can get it from our revered text called Bhagavad Gita. Now, what does Bhagavad Gita teach us about our planet Earth? Something different. It tells us that during our stay on this planet, in whatever continent it be, what should be our goal? How should we live? what should be our understanding, and more importantly, what should be our attitude. Let us find out more. Now, what does Gita teach us, and how is it different to different situations in life? By simplifying things, by being simple, by living in simplicity, like a simple-hearted one. What does Gita say about what should be done during our stay here? Live animosity and anger, fighting with each other, and live a life full of vengeance, or something else? Let us discover. Now, Bhagavad Gita on actions. So I'm not going to chant the verse. The verse is already there. The shloka is from third chapter, 5th shloka. But let us explore the essence and imbibe the teachings within ourselves. Bhagavan Krishna tells you and me, that during our stay on this earth planet, we have to understand that not even for a second you and I can remain without doing any action. So everyone is set to motion helplessly by the inherent qualities of Prakriti. And what are the inherent qualities? They are 3 in number: Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Bhagavan says in shloka number 2.2nd chapter, 47th shloka. What does Bhagavan say? Bhagavan says that 4 things in the shloka. You and I have a right to perform our prescribed duties. We have no right to dictate the results of our actions. The results of our actions are dependent. Dependent on what? Many factors. Our efforts, our past actions, God's rule, and our intention behind every action. Third, he tells us that never ever we should hold on to the thought of the results or consider ourselves to be the cause of the results of our activities. Thus, we should give up the notion that I am the doer of any act. What does it mean? It just means that we should give up Kartrutva Abhimana. We should not be attached to inaction, and this is the 4th point that he tells in this shloka. Very beautiful. What he says is gathered from the Bhashya of Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji in Bhagavad Gita. What Bhagavan says? Bhagavan says, Sarva Praninam Shoka Mohadi Dosha Vishta Chetasam Swabhavata Eva Swadharma Parityagaha Pratishiddha Seva Cha Syat. What does it mean? It means that it is natural for the ignorant ones, the ignorant living beings, to be overpowered and get influenced by grief and delusion, and thereby abandon one's duties and go after that what is forbidden. Next, Bhagavan says, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji says Tattvavid na aham karomi iti manyate na cha tat phalam abhisandate. Meaning, the wise who is a wise? The one who has realized his true nature, right? So he does not consider himself as the doer, nor does he long for the results of his action. Catch this. Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya further says in his Bhashya, Karmanishtaya Jnananishta Prapti Hetutve na Purushartha Hetutvam na Swatantriyena. Jnananishta Karmanishta Upaya Labdhatmika Sati Swatantriyena Purushartha Hetuhu Anyanapeksha. So what is the message he is giving? He says that the work, the action is a means to the attainment of the supreme human goal, but it is not independent. The outcome of performing actions selflessly is for purification of the mind. So the outcome is purification of the mind, through which the self-knowledge can be easily attained. So it is all these activities or all those sadhana what we are doing is only for the purification of the mind. So this we have to catch. Knowledge, once we have gained the knowledge has the capacity to lead us to the goal. And is it dependent on some other factor? No. So Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya brings to light, or rather clarifies, that knowledge has capacity to lead us to the goal independently, not actions. Catch this. But we humans are seen to be ourselves in action. So actions can bring us roti, kapda, makan, that is food, clothing and shelter. Nothing more, nothing less. So in sloka number 19 of the 3rd chapter, Bhagavan tells us that when we perform actions without clinging to the tie of actions or eyeing on the results that the actions can fetch us, then we can attain the Supreme. The 8th sloka of the 4th chapter, Bhagavan reveals in fact to us that there is no greater purifier than supreme knowledge. Now, why is Bhagavan saying so? Let us find out, right? Adi Shankaracharya ji says, Shastram tu atyantam pramanam atadharmadhyaropanamatra nivartakatvena pramanatvam atmanaha pratipadyate natu ajñatarthanatpakatvena manushya-loke hi shastra adhikaraha. So what is he saying? He is telling that scriptures are the final authority. How? Because the scriptures help us by eliminating those attributes that we superimpose on the self out of ignorance and not by making unknown known. So the eligibility to study scriptures is only in the human world. So let us make the best of the time. What do you say? Says that shoka mohadi sansara karanam nivrutyartham Gita Shastram na pravartakam. So Gita teaches us of Gita as a scripture. It teaches us to remove the causes of transmigration, which are sorrow, grief, delusion, and not to enjoy action. Catch. So what is the teaching of Gita? Let us explore the essence. In sloka number 14 of the second chapter, Bhagwan Krishna tells us that we need to all live a life with an understanding that there's a contact between our senses and their relevant sense objects, and it produces the perceptions of joy and sorrow, heat and cold. So they are all pairs of opposites. Now, how to deepen this understanding? By understanding that we need to understand that they are all not permanent, but they are impermanent as they come and go. So when in life we meet these pairs of opposites, what should we do? Just endure them without being perturbed, right? So we need to learn to endure them without being perturbed. So how do we look at the experiences of life? So Bhagavan says in Sloka 28 of the third chapter that the 11 persons, the ones who have assimilated the knowledge of the scriptures, distinguish Atman as separate from the gunas and the karmas. So what is their understanding? They perceive that it is only the gunas that interact with the gunas. The gunas in the form of the senses and the mind interact with the gunas in the form of the objects of perception. Knowing thus, they do not get involved in or occupied with them or affected by them or entangled by them. Interesting, right? What is the essence of the teaching? Be, be a seer, a drashta. So Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya tells that Sarvisham Brahmadinam Stamba Paryantanam Bhutanam Atma Bhutaha Atma Pratyak Chetano Yasya Saha Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Samyak Darshi Ityartaha. So what is the vision of such a person is Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. He looks upon everything from blade of the grass to Brahma as Atman, as his own self. He has the right perception that he is the true seer. So he is called Samyak Darshi. May the Lord Krishna bless each one of us to be Samyak Darshi. With this beautiful prayer in our heart, let us conclude this series of 12 talks on universal truths from the Bhagavad Gita by summing it up. So what does adapting to universality mean? Let us make the best of the human birth. put an effort to tune our body, mind, emotions, feelings, thoughts to divinity and readjust cheerfully our lives to accommodate others, accepting as they are, meaning forgiving all for their lapses because they are all in the journey of purification. See, God's world is well planned. There is no error whatsoever. The fact that God has given us an opportunity to amend our ways, because you and I, do not know how and in what manner we all have erred and made mistakes in the path of evolution. So we need to develop a heart full of gratitude, gratefulness for the mercy that Bhagavan has shown upon each one of us. Are we actually deserving such mercy? Think. Now, concluding this session, I wish to thank all of you for helping me reflect loud. It indeed has been a beautiful journey of 6 sessions. There, there have been lots of insight which has brought about peace into the mind. Though there have been small challenges in making the videos, but they are all acceptable when it comes to the bigger benefit that we have got. Thank you. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. This is a beautiful Samarpanam at the feet of the Almighty. Hari Om. Om Tat Sat.